the really good news is, kia ora koutou, that I've been fretting all day about 4 minutes, but actually, Jo, she's just done most of that for me. So I'm going to start this evening with a really quick bunch of questions for you guys. So I'm going to ask you to, wait for it, put up your hand if any of these apply to you. Once you put up your hand, please keep your hand up until I tell you to lower it. I've got all the power here. So put up your hand if you've lost someone that you loved dearly, please. Put up your hand if you've suffered a miscarriage or struggled with infidelity. Actually, that was meant to be infertility. I get another minute. I love that some of you put your hands up too. Okay, so put up your hand if you've been through a miserable divorce or had your heart broken. Put up your hand if you've been made redundant, diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, suffered physical impairment, or had to navigate mental illness all your life. Look around you, everybody. Has everyone got their hand up by now? I think so. So the point is, keep your hand up. I told you to keep them up. That adversity doesn't discriminate. It happens to us all, to people like you and to people like me. Now, wait for it. Put your hand down if you weren't specifically trained to cope with all that shit. Oh, I meant to have my hand up. So, I'm one of the lucky ones. I was trained in the psychology of well-being. In 2009, I went to the University of Pennsylvania and studied resilience research. I went because I was already becoming really fascinated by resilience. I wanted to know what it was. I wanted to know who had it, who didn't, what enabled it, what detracted, and most of all, could we build it in people? So when my dark day came in 2014, and my dear wee girl was killed, alongside her best friend Ella, and Ella's mum Sally, who was also a dear friend to many of us here. In that moment, I think I was in some ways lucky, because I was better prepared than most to deal with her loss. Over the last 4 years since, I can honestly say that that resilience training that I had at the University of Pennsylvania really did help me. It really made all the difference because I had this smorgasbord of material upon which to draw. We were told in that first week after the girls died that we were now prime candidates for divorce, mental illness, and family estrangement. I remember thinking, thanks for that. I thought my life was already pretty shit. We were told to take 5 years, to write off 5 years of our life to getting over her death. We were treated as victims, told to take a passive approach to her loss. And yet I'd been trained in resilience. I'd read the research. I knew that actually people really can choose different ways of thinking and acting, and they do enable them to navigate even such terrible moments in life. So I feel I was really lucky to have that training, but I don't really think it should be down to luck. It doesn't seem fair to me. And so now I really enjoy the work I do in schools, helping teachers help students learn about resilience, learn about the ways of thinking and acting that have been shown by science to really help us deal with change and terrible loss in life. I don't want to be one of the few in this room to have had that training. I've had enough of the sickness model of mental health, where all of our money, all of our time, all of the funding, all 18 billion goes to the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. It's time for that to change. I'm going to leave you with a question, because I'm really prompt. I really do have time issues, so absolutely, I'm out of here. I'm going to leave you with a question. I want you to answer me this. If I asked you, what 2 things do you want for your children? Call them out. What would you say? Health, happiness, strength, courage, curiosity, safety. I think it's really important in school to learn about Pythagoras, but I really think it's time that we learn that stuff too. Thank you.